Hello, I am Todd Russell, and I'm a certified financial planner professional in Nashville, Tennessee. I created this site and these videos to teach and inform about long-term care insurance product solutions, how they work, the different plans, and to inform you as a consumer what is available in the marketplace so you can make a well-informed decision. This presentation is a detailed review of how most policies work when someone needs to qualify for benefits. If you have a policy or you're considering one, please make sure to reference the specific policy for the actual details. This is simply a general overview of how they work. You can find more videos and information on my website at www.myltciplan.com. So to access long-term care insurance benefits, there are 4 key criteria that must be met. And this is how eligibility generally works across most policy types. So first, the insured must be certified as chronically ill, and that means they're unable to perform at least 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, things like eating, bathing, dressing, maintaining continence, toileting, and transferring. Or the second criteria is they require substantial supervision due to cognitive impairment like dementia or Alzheimer's. And then the second item is the certification needs to come from a licensed healthcare practitioner. And this could be a physician, a nurse, or a licensed social worker, just depending on the policy language. Third is a plan of care needs to be created. And this is a document that outlines what type of help is needed, the frequency of the care, and who's going to provide it. It's essentially the care roadmap that aligns with the insurer's criteria for claiming benefits. And finally, the elimination period must be satisfied. For some policies, that means 90 calendar days from the start of care. For others, it's 90 service days, meaning only days when care is actually received count toward the elimination period. So we'll cover more on this in another slide. So in short, you must meet the medical trigger, have the proper documentation, and satisfy the policy's timing requirements. So once a claim is initiated, the insurer follows a structured certification process to confirm that the insured is truly eligible for benefits. So they trust what you're saying, but they always want to verify it. And this usually starts with a review of company-provided claim forms and medical records. So these can include doctor's notes, diagnoses, prescriptions, or hospital discharge summaries, and really anything that can help establish the condition and its progression. In most cases, there will be an in-person or a remote assessment, and their job is really to observe and evaluate the insured's ability to perform the activities of daily living or to assess their cognitive function. And this is not something that's meant to be intimidating, it's just to make sure that everything that's been reported lines up. And the goal here really is twofold. First, it is to verify that the person does indeed meet the definition of being chronically ill in the policy. And second, it also provides a layer of checks and balances so that the carrier has documentation to confidently pay the claims due to the insured. One of the most overlooked but critically important sections in long-term care policies are the definitions. So if you're reading through a policy and you see a word in bold, that is your cue to pay attention. That term is going to be defined somewhere, usually in the back under a section called definitions or policy terms. And so why does this even matter? Well, because what a policy means by chronically ill or nursing care or even informal caregiver might not be what you assume it means. So these terms are going to be legally defined, and those definitions are what is going to determine if and when benefits will be paid. So for example, the definition of assistance with bathing might be more strict than what you imagine, or maybe the term licensed facility may have a specific meaning tied to state law or policy provisions. So the bottom line is you don't need to gloss over the definitions. Taking time to understand them is important to knowing what's covered, what triggers benefits, and what responsibilities you or your family may have at the time of claim. As a follow-up to the previous slide and understanding definitions in the policy, so I took a screenshot from an existing long-term care policy of how the term chronically ill is defined, and that's what you see in front of you. So to qualify as chronically ill under this policy, the insured must be certified within the last 12 months by a licensed healthcare practitioner. And if you'll notice, it's important that the person who is doing the certification is not a family member or someone affiliated with the long-term care provider. So they must be objective and independent. And then if you look at the two paths to meeting this definition down here below, the first, it says being unable to perform without substantial assistance from another individual at least 2 activities of daily living for a period of at least 90 days due to a loss of functional capacity, or number 2, requiring substantial supervision to protect the individual from the threats to health and safety due to severe cognitive impairment. So this definition really forms the foundation of the benefit eligibility. So understanding exactly how it works and what's excluded is critical, especially when you're planning ahead or preparing to navigate a claim. So continuing down this trail of understanding definitions and policies, in the previous slide it mentioned activities of daily living, or ADLs. So what are those? So I'm going to define them below, but as always, if you currently have a policy or you're considering one, make sure you read your specific policy for the specific definitions. So let's start walking through these. So for bathing, this is defined as the ability to wash yourself, including getting in and out of a tub or shower. Dressing is the ability to select appropriate clothes and physically dress and undress. Transferring is moving from one position to another, such as getting in and out of a bed or chair. Toileting is getting to and from the toilet and managing personal hygiene. Continence is the ability to control your bowel or bladder functions or manage care if you're unable. And eating is being able to feed yourself after food has been prepared and served. I want to share a few random items with you that I do think are important for you to know. So once a claim has been filed, they'll notify you if it is approved, or if it has not been approved, they'll share the reasons why it was not and may let you know steps you can take to be approved based on the terms of your policy. Long-term care policies do require annual recertification, and that means once someone qualifies and begins receiving benefits, they must be reevaluated, usually once a year, to confirm that they're still eligible to receive the LTC benefits. So this often involves updated documentation from a licensed healthcare professional, a possible in-person assessment, and a revised plan of care. Another question to ask of a policy is, does it pay claims if you live abroad? So some policies specifically exclude and do not pay for care if it's received outside of the U.S. Other policies might pay a reduced benefit, or they may have specific geographic restrictions where they pay claims. So this is especially important for people who are planning on spending part of the year abroad, or if they're considering retiring overseas. You want to make sure you know what your policy says about claiming benefits if you live internationally. And finally, be aware that some policies outline that benefits can be reduced or limited depending on where and how care is received. So rather than paying 100% of the monthly home health care benefit in the long-term care policy, it might only pay 75% of the monthly long-term care benefit if you're receiving care at home through an informal caregiver, not through a home care agency. So a lot of these nuances don't show up in the glossy sales brochures, but they certainly do matter at time of claim. So as I've said throughout these presentations, if you have a policy or if you're considering a policy, make sure that you read it and understand what it covers, what it doesn't cover, and how it works. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a next step. So we've covered how long-term care benefits are triggered through activities of daily living or cognitive impairments, and how your policy defines these. But learning the basics is really just the start. So every plan can be tailored to your age, health, and budget. So that's why I've built www.myltciplan.com. It's to give you deeper learning tools, sample pricing options, and the ability to request a custom quote. So visit the website and explore these resources, and you can review numbers and see what a plan design around your life could look like.